Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 8th of July. Continuing with Robert Murray McShane's readings, today reading Joshua chapter 10, where Joshua leads the people of Israel in a battle against the Amalekites. And he prays to God that the sun would stop, and we're told that the sun does that. Verse 13, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. And therefore Israel had the victory. Now that's a verse that I struggle with. What do you do with it? On the one hand, some people say, well, you just say, this is myth and nonsense, drop it. Therefore, you have the rest of the scripture, you're not tripped up by this verse. The problem is if you just toss the verse like that, what's stopping you tossing the rest of the Bible? It's all stuff and nonsense, so just get rid of it all. Make up your own truth that you'll live by. So that, in my mind, that doesn't really help. On the other extreme, you have people that say it happened literally exactly as it is. Sun got to the middle of the sky, stopped for about a day, and then went down. Joshua had the victory, which is possible because God can do anything. But I struggle with that as an explanation. And there's a whole lot of other ways people have tried to explain it. The one that has made most sense to me was that what happened was that it was a completely overcast day, and so you couldn't see where the sun was. It came up and it got light, and it just stayed light through the course of the day while they fought the battle. And why that was important was that you didn't have the afternoon heat. Because it was overcast, you didn't have the afternoon heat, which would have been debilitating and affected the outcome. And because that didn't happen, the battle was able to continue until Joshua had the victory. So you've got a verse which is difficult to get one's head around. Two things I think we need to bear in mind. The one is the Bible, this wasn't written as an astronomical text. It wasn't written about the sun, moon, and stars. This is written about theology and history. And the bottom line was God did something, which we're not quite sure exactly what it was, but God did something that enabled Joshua to have the victory. And that's what we hold on to, that it was because of God's intervention that Joshua was victorious. Exactly what God did 3,000 years later, different culture, different language, different everything, we struggle to get our head around. But the main point was God was there and God intervened. The second point is that the fact that there's a verse which we struggle to get our head around doesn't mean that we use that to disparage the rest of Scripture. Like if you're reading a telephone directory, for those that remember such things, and there's a number that's listed and it's wrong. You don't toss the whole telephone directory out. Say, oh, this number, I tried phoning it, it's the wrong number, therefore the whole book's wrong, toss it out. No, you say, that verse is wrong, that telephone number is wrong, the rest of the book's still good. And so we've got this verse I struggle with, the rest of the book's still good. And there's a great preacher that said, we need to remember as we go through the Scripture that the plain things are the main things. And so when we come across things which are difficult to understand, we mustn't let that trip us up and hold us up and divert us, because that's not a critical issue. What happened here is not critical. The main thing was God was there and intervened for the people of Israel. And the main things in Scripture are clear. 10 Commandments, they're pretty clear. Jesus' teaching on the Mount, pretty clear. Most of Paul's letters, pretty clear. The plain things are the main things. And as we go through Scripture, that I believe we need to hold on to. So however you make sense of this, know that the truth is that God is in our lives, in our battles, in our struggles, and His presence can make the difference irrespective of what we're up against. Hold on to that and be encouraged.